The 2021 Premier League season is almost here, and our season previews will give you all the information you need to know about your favorite Premier League clubs. Guys, welcome to the Football Fundits, and in today's episode, we're going to be previewing the mighty Gunners, that is, Arsenal Football Club. We're joined today by lifelong Gunners Nirvaan Thacker, welcome back, buddy, and Mihir Chheda from the Arsenal Mumbai Supporters Club. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. I'm going to quickly introduce the topic for today a little more to set things in motion. So despite your lowest Premier League finish in 25 years, 8th, and I think the last one was 94 where you finished 12th, there is some optimism obviously around Arsenal. You guys have won the FA Cup, you've won the Community Shield in the recent past. And in doing so, you've also secured some impressive wins against the likes of Man City, Chelsea, and even Liverpool, right? I believe that the Gunners have shown a little bit of, their mojo ever since Mikel Arteta has arrived, and it was unfortunate to see Unai Emery go out. So Mihir, welcome once again. I'm going to throw this straight to you. What is the Arteta effect? As players and fans, what does he inspire going into this season?
Starting with Arteta, so it's not something which is tactical. We've seen a lot of tactical coaches, but what Mikel brings in from the mental perspective is something which we have been lacking. You can call it the champion's mentality. So he has a no-nonsense attitude. He wants something from the players, and even if you give 99%, he's not going to be satisfied. He needs that 100 in every game. That is what I guess separates great managers from good managers. And of course, tactically, he's been doing brilliant. He knows the players which are on his hands in the squad, and he's bringing the best out of them. And we've already seen beating the likes of City, Liverpool, etc. is no joke. So it's definitely the Arteta effect, because he has the same players which were there when Emery was gone. So the players have not changed, but the mentality and the tactics have surely upped the game.
I'm glad you brought up players, because I'm going to jump straight into that, and maybe Annie and Nirvaan can both come in here. Nirvaan, I'll let you go in first. He spoke about players. It's been the same since Unai Emery. However, there have been a few signings already, right? You've got Willian in from Chelsea on a free transfer, albeit at 200k a week, which no one really cares about. You've got Gabriel, you've got Maris, Saliba, and you've also got Nketiah, Saka, and Nicolas Pepe, who look like new signings all over again, right? So talk to us a little bit about the recruitment that's been done so far, and who do you identify as key players to watch this season?
So to start off with, I think there's still one very big area that's left unaddressed, which is the central midfield. I'm happy to see Ceballos back for another year, but at the end of 2021, we're going to be put back in the same position of who's going to fill that spot. So I'm hoping for one more there, but I'm very happy to see a player like Gabriel coming into our defense. We have Saliba, we have Mari coming back from injury, and I think that'll give us some good strength in the back. That is what we've been lacking over the years. I think ever since we're struggling with the likes of Skilachis, and we've always had a weak link there, and now we have three I would say positive prospects in that position. So it's been great from the recruitment standpoint there. Very happy to see Willian coming in as well. I think a right winger was much overdue at Arsenal. There were always players that were sort of trying to fill that space, but not inherent right wingers. Albeit a little old, I guess. With his age, he brings experience to the youngsters that we're trying to sort of fill into the team as well. So I guess that could be another great boost to the squad right now.
Nirvaan, sorry, Abby, you mentioned a lot of players coming in, right? And we've seen that Arsenal actually have done a good job for a change, getting ahead, recruiting the players. They sealed up Willian very quickly. The money, like Abby said, does not matter, shouldn't matter right now. You need to get depth. But are you guys worried that there's also outgoings? Maitland-Niles, Kolasinac, Bellerin, that takes away the whole squad depth again, and you go back to square one, right? Are you not worried that you can't compete in the Europa League, especially this season, where because of the pandemic, you've lost a whole month on a normal season, traveling on Thursdays to the eastern parts of Europe and coming back in those bubbles?
It is. It is. I do agree. I do agree that the outgoings, especially in defense, would be a little bit of a scare if we end up offloading all who you mentioned. Simply because we've had a bit of a, I wouldn't say a curse, but it's been known for us to lose a few defenders mid-season. So it would be awful if that were to repeat itself.
Yeah.
But then again, there are talks of them leaving, but I don't see all of them being offloaded. Offloaded not being the most positive term, but we need to make some money in order to fill the more apparent gap which is in our central midfield. So I guess that is the angle that we're going from. If we can even part with one, we could make a good chunk of money to boost that space.
Nirvaan, you spoke of money and you spoke of players. There's only one player that comes to mind when I've used these two words. And Mihir, I'm going to come to you. And since we're on this topic, and we'll quickly move on to expectations after this, but therefore, let's address the three elephants in the room, right? Mesut Ozil, Aubameyang, and Hector Bellerin. So what do you make of the Ozil situation? Will Aubameyang sign a new contract? And is Bellerin here to stay or is he off?
Okay, we've been reading some news about him being offered to PSG and other clubs, but I don't see him leaving. Shouldn't actually, because now we have a very settled defense with Saliba and Gabriel coming in, and Tierney is been fantastic. So all we need is a right back who can be on the same level as these three. So selling Hector at this point is not going to be really good for us, given that backup right backs are going to be Maitland-Niles, he's not leaving, and Cedric Soares. So it's like there's again some imbalance which is not going to be good for the season. You can manage 1 or 2 matches without Hector, but if you count the season as a whole, you need one quality right back to push through the entire season. And it's no joke, getting a quality right back. How many can you name right now? So doesn't make sense to
Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, I didn't hear a single one you mentioned.
Yes. So I don't want to lose Hector, given the fact that we want to raise funds. We have a lot of deadwood to clear. If you want to raise funds, why not clear them first and then go for Bellerin?
I want to ask
if at all there is a dire need.
Talking about possible
guys,
deadwood.
but that's often easier said than done, because the reason why it's deadwood is because it's not easy to clear out, right? Whereas your talented and quality players will obviously be the ones who will be easier to sort of
Case in point,
let go of.
Case in point, David Luiz. He was almost on his way out after the City game, after the restart. He now looks like he'll be set in the back three. That's the biggest turnaround of the season, unless COVID goes away tomorrow. Of 2020, that's the biggest turnaround for me. Because now, David Luiz actually looks good under Arteta. He looks like he can be trusted and Arteta trusts him, right?
The system is working really well with David Luiz. The City game was the lowest point of his Arsenal career, but the bounce back after that game has been immense. And you can literally see he's the one who's shaping the defense, who's holding the defense. So great. I mean, Arteta's magic working wonders again.
It's good to see, the Arsenal faithful sort of backing David Luiz. And I think we'll end the Luiz conversation there, because I already think we've gone one line too many on him. We haven't addressed one more big elephant in the room, Lacazette. Too good for the bench? Too good for the bench, or is he on his way out?
I've been saying it since March. He's too good to be on the bench.
He's too good to be on the bench, but like what we were mentioning earlier, if we have to clear players to get funds, I guess Laka is a more realistic option than Bellerin. So I wouldn't sacrifice Bellerin for funds. If you want to sacrifice a player, you've got Gundozi. Of course, he's not in good books right now, but push it through, negotiate a deal. And Laka is one of the prospects that you can sell to other clubs. But of course, if he's staying, he's too good to be on the bench.
Nirvaan, I'm going to come to you now with expectations from this season, right? FA Cup winners last year, therefore direct entry into the Europa group stages. Is the Premier League too far away to challenge? Is it top 4 that you're looking at? Is the Europa League therefore the biggest competition, so to speak, from an Arsenal standpoint?
Europa League is big because it's. I over the years I've noticed one thing which is not the most positive about Arsenal is endurance, and 38 games in the Premier League require endurance. We're trying to we're adapting to a new style of play. We're trying to bring in a lot of different players. We're trying to re-establish ourselves. The 38 game endurance looks a lot harder than performing on 16, 18 nights in a year. So, for especially because of Chelsea with a very strong transfer window this year, Liverpool coming off of a high horse of a league after 30 years, City being City, there is a lot of competition, and one small slip up can easily, put you out of the race for the Premier League. Whereas making sure that 16 nights or 18 nights of the season you have to perform, and Europa League can be yours. European glory is something that we have been sort of scarce with. So I do believe that the Europa is a very even an achievable target for us this year. And it should be one of our prime focuses.
Yeah, but Nirvaan, I think that's a
Mihir
smart
agrees
way.
with you, Mihir.
Yeah.
Do you have a different point in this, or do you agree largely with what Nirvaan says in terms of what your expectations are?
Yeah, before Mihir, before you speak, I'll just say one thing. You know that Nirvaan said rightly. I think it's easier to charter and plan a Europa League win or success than guarantee top 4 Premier League with Everton, Wolves, Sheffield.
I never said I have doubts about top 4. I said doubts about challenging the championship. Don't get me wrong. Top 4 is there. Top 4
definitely. No, what I meant to say was, guys, what I meant to say was, in general, top 4 has become very hot. It's not what it was even till 5 years back, when it was just Spurs and Liverpool was 6th and now coming back, right? You do have other teams coming in, easily taking points off you. Versus if you charter a plan, fix that out. It's actually not that hard to win the Europa League, because if you look at Sevilla, they've done it 3 times in a row. But yeah, Mihir, go on.
True.
So it's not that difficult. I agree, because Mikel is a tactical coach. Like he goes in with the opposition. So it's not like you play your game. You have to take into consideration what the opposition is going to offer. That no way takes out what the Premier League is going to give us. Top 4 is going. It should be a guarantee. We don't have a squad to challenge for the title yet, but given the players that we've signed and the progress that we've been making, top 4 should be one of the targets in mind.
You mentioned the squad you have, so let's just go into what do you think is your best starting 11. And I'm not saying to start the season, I'm saying at some point in the season, because one thing you mentioned in all of our previews, with COVID coming in, a lot of your players might be missing out because of the Nations League, bubble in, bubble out, all of that, right? So at some
Maybe
point,
because of COVID too.
yeah. So at some point in the season, what is your best lineup? So Mihir, I'll start again with you, and then you push it off to Nirvaan.
Keeping aside the targets or the probable signings that we'll put in, right now, given the midfield that we have, I don't see Arteta going with back 4. So we'll have to stick with the back 3. And I'd start with the obvious choices: Saliba, Gabriel, and Lewis in the center. That's going to be the back 3. Of course, wing backs are going to be Tierney, Bellerin. Midfield, we have Granit and Ceballos.
Yep.
The front 3 is something we can be the most dynamic with, but our best would be Oba on the left, Laka center, Pepe on the right.
Laka center. I'm not sure if Nirvaan.
I agree.
I was surprised he picked Pepe over Willian.
Okay, Willian.
I don't know. It's a tough call.
I'd still pick Pepe over Willian. The style that Arteta uses his wingers with, Pepe is going to be more lethal than Willian. He has those,
fair enough.
Small runs, taking out space.
But you didn't address a very big question on everyone's mind right now.
Creative spark.
Sorry?
The creative spark from the midfield.
That and Leno or Martinez.
Yeah. That is a big one. That's what I was coming to.
I took
that was one differentiator that we might have had.
Leno. I'd stick with Leno.
Very quickly, what's your starting 11? And do address the Ozil situation. And last but not the least, I personally thought Willian would start over Pepe because proven Premier League winger, had a great season for Chelsea, so on and so forth. But what is your take on that?
I am very intrigued. So obviously Villa Arsenal was played behind closed doors recently. We did lose 3-2 unfortunately, but Ozil started, which was massive. I was very honestly, Mihir's starting 11 was 95% my starting 11. But now just to change things up, I would have Martinez on goal because he's been in great form. Let Leno fight his way back into the team. I would have 2 out of the 3 of the centre backs that Mihir was saying. Either two of the 3 would be okay for me. But playing 4 on the back with Tierney and Bellerin, and I would play Xhaka, Ceballos, and try to bring Ozil back in the hole, and then play Willian, Saka, and Oba up front. I think that would be. And I'm just trying to change things up a little bit because I feel like if I was playing this on FIFA, it would probably be something like this. I'd like to see someone back in the hole for us is because a lot of our play in the second half, although it's been working well, there's a lot of long balls from behind half line that the attackers have to sort of control, take it out, wait for the other players to come back up for support. So by bringing someone back into the hole, it would give us a little more creative play in the center to take the ball up front because we've been doing well. We've been doing good triangular passes. We've been getting the ball out of tight situations well. Yep. So I feel like maybe getting someone back in the hole, a creative player back in the hole, could be something that we could look at.
4-3-3 is going to be the eventual lineup. What Arteta is looking at, but we don't have the midfielders for that 3.
Okay.
So right now he's going to stick to what is working.
Yeah.
Unless we sign someone from Partey or OR. So I don't see that midfield being shifted anywhere because to add up numbers, he's going to play one of these as an inverted fullback. So that somewhere addresses the midfield issue that you stack up the numbers and give Ceballos some freedom to go ahead.
Get creative.
Yeah.
Or maybe we can play Xhaka, El Neni in the back and Ceballos or Ozil ahead of them. I don't know.
So
that
actually move. What you're talking about kind of answers half my question, right? Now looking at the players you've got and Partey is missing out and maybe you miss out another defender right there. And looking at the top 4, right? Look at the way Chelsea have shot up. United are lacking behind even Arsenal, I feel. Look at how Spurs, I listed in the Spurs preview, 10 midfielders. All starters on the day in any team. Bergwijn included, right? And they've got Højbjerg now. Yeah. So do you guys, but looking on that, why don't you tell me finally what do you all see? Abby, where do you see Arsenal finishing? Where do you see yourselves in Europa? How far can you go? Can you get a cup? And realistically, top 4?
All I'll say is that, and I'll let the 2 gents in red give their predictions for the season. All I'll say is that this is going to be a hell of a season for Arsenal's back 3, back 4, whatever they play. Let me just drop you guys with a golden nugget, about stats and all of that. I was reading this somewhere. Arsenal are the 4th worst team when it comes to expected goal difference in the league when they have scored a goal and when they're in the lead by a single goal. So Arsenal essentially in simple English, when playing with a 1-goal league, Arsenal become relegation candidates. That is how bad Arsenal are at holding that 1-goal lead, right? So clearly attack is not a problem. Mihir said it himself, he can see the spark in that front 3. It's going to be a hell of a season for Saliba, Gabriel, David Luiz. And I think a big function of where you finish will be how these 3 click. That's all I'm going to say. I'll let Mihir and Nirvaan tell us what they see as realistic predictions for the season.
So that is the thing you mentioned about leading by a goal and, going to the relegation form is what something which I guess Arteta has addressed pretty much. It is more of a mental block that, I'm not sure. We lack spine sometimes. But,
oh my God, we're in the lead. I can't believe we're in the lead. Oh my God, we're in the lead. Goal.
But then again, Mihir, to add to your point, you went to Wembley and beat City and beat Chelsea and came back and beat Liverpool again. I mean, what is this side?
The stats that you're giving me, I'm not sure how much of that is post Arteta. But if you consider the stats post Arteta, I'm not sure you're going to find any game that we were leading, and we just.
I'm also talking strictly of the Premier League, not any other cup. Maybe that's why.
Okay, but I guess there's something different about
I
us
was just
now.
going to say we did that against Liverpool right now, right?
Yeah.
The Community Shield. Yeah. So some truth there.
It's pretty much
Predictions.
good. Top 4.
Okay. Any
Doesn't
silverware?
matter minus 2, 3, 4. Yes, many is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Europa and FA Cup.
Ooh.
Europa
Sounds
and
like
FA Cup.
sounds like a hell of a season, man. If you actually do that, Nirvaan, what do you think?
Yeah.
I personally think we're going to finish third. I think we're going to reach at least the semis of the Europa. Hopefully do better there. But I have a feeling we're going to win both the English knockout competitions. I don't know why. Like it's like the slow resurrection
Who's
of
a player
Arsenal.
to watch out for? Who is a player who's going to be not Aubameyang? If it's not Aubameyang, then
I was going to say we're waiting for him to sign his contract. We're waiting for him to sign his contract.
Ani, I'll start with you. Who are you most excited to see in this Arsenal side?
in this Arsenal side, I'm actually very excited to see Willian. I think it's one of those players who was playing maybe for the wrong side this whole time. And I think it might really change the way Arsenal's dynamism in tracking back might just change. Willian is a very industrious player. Yes, he's old, but he's not lost his pace yet. I think he might just change the way Arsenal plays.
What about you, Mihir? One word and we'll wrap this up. Which player are you most looking forward to?
Pepe.
Nirvaan?
The PFA nominate, Saka.
Fantastic. I'm going to go with Danny Ceballos. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was your Arsenal Football Club preview for the 2021 season. Mihir, Nirvaan, thank you so much for coming on the Football Pundits. As always, guys, if you watch our videos and if you like this preview, do hit the bell icon, do hit subscribe, do follow us on our social media channels. You can also follow Mihir and Nirvaan on their Instagram and Twitter handles as well. We'll post that right down for your viewing. Thank you so much, gents. That was the Arsenal Football Club season preview for 2021 on behalf of the Pundits. See you next time.
Thank you, Mihir.
Thanks, guys.
Come on, you Gunners. Thank you.
Come on, you got us.